Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing super well. So as you can see by the title of the video, I'm doing another art process video, and this is the Style and Grace art print, which is another one of my absolute favorites. So of course I'm starting with a sketch. This one I also did the initial sketch in my sketchbook, so I just took a photo of it and then uploaded it onto Procreate so that I could outline it. I think I mentioned in my last video that I drew the sketches quite a while ago, like a good amount of time ago, so this is not something I'd probably do now in terms of taking a photo and uploading it, just because my skills are a lot better now so I can just kind of draw it onto Procreate. And also because the final sketch turned out quite a lot different than what I initially started with, so there's lots of changes that I wanted to make because the sketch was so old and it just didn't really fit what I wanted the finished piece to look like anymore, if that makes sense. I feel like I've mentioned quite a few times at this point, but my art process is not the most conventional, so even after finishing a sketch I might have a new idea and then add that in after shadows and stuff like that. So of course I'm adding the final outlines and then adding a layer of shadows, so once I add a color I can automatically kind of see what the shadow color might look like. And for this to work properly, I make sure I turn on any layers before color to the multiply setting so that it matches the color that I put on top of it. So now I'm just moving on to add in my flat colors, like just the very base colors. In terms of this, I usually make sure that I put them on a separate layer for every single piece. So the hair would go on a separate layer, the skin would go on a separate layer, jacket, shirt, just everything I can think of would go on a separate layer, and then I'll alpha lock it so that I'm not interfering with that color once I start doing something else. So in that previous clip you would have probably seen me trying to figure out the colors for the jacket and the shirt. I mean, I knew I wanted to add some type of burgundy / wine type of color, but I just wasn't sure whether it should be on the jacket or on the shirt. So I ended up adding it to the jacket and I think it worked so well. I'm really glad that I did that. And the first initial stages of adding color is literally just me finding colors that work with the skin tone, and also looking at references to help me with shadows and highlight colors for skin tones and stuff as well. I'm definitely getting better at color theory, however it's still something I need to work on. And once I added the base colors, I wanted to go to a certain facial feature. In this case it was the lips that I started with, and I tried to give it a finished look, not a fully finished look of course, but somewhat of a finished look with highlights, just so I can see how it would work with the other colors. And it kind of helps with motivation as well when you feel like the colors aren't necessarily going right, or you're kind of losing the vision a little bit. You can kind of see a finished bit, so you have somewhat of a real life version of a piece of it to be able to work with. So after I added all of those bits, I go in with darker shadows and initial highlight placement as well, and then blend all of that in so I can start to build up depth and contrast. And of course there's like lots of trial and error, and I don't know anyone that doesn't go through some type of trial and error with an art piece or artwork, because sometimes you just like things and then sometimes you don't like it anymore and you change your mind, and it's just kind of all part of the creative process. And I say that to say I just take my time and go with the flow of it, and if something's not working then I try something different instead of getting frustrated, which sometimes I do definitely get frustrated, but I think the less pressure I put on myself, knowing that there's going to be some positives, some negatives, and then in turn being way less hard on myself, meaning that the process will go so much smoother. And once I added more depth and detail, I went back to the lips and redid them, of course, with more details and highlights to make them look a lot more realistic. I think every artist just knows that when you start adding highlights and details, it just really makes things come to life. So obviously the eyes can just kind of transform a piece, especially for me. Once I add the whites in the eyes, it just looks so good. And also I couldn't figure out what I wanted to add to the shirt. I just knew I wanted to add some words to the yellow part, but it took me forever to figure out what I was going to add to it before I decided on writing the word grateful. Then I just added any final details and highlights, mainly to make everything come to life. And then I decided on a background color as well, which you will see me kind of flicking through different colors until I was happy with the background color. And I also considered adding some other details to the background as well, but I think in future art prints I want to do way more with the backgrounds. But I just felt for this I didn't want to take away from the main part of the drawing, so I was quite happy with not adding any extras to the background. So yeah, this is the final artwork. I'm so happy with it, and I love the colors, and I actually really want that jacket in real life. So once I was done, I sent the work off to be printed, and I used print work for all of my prints here in the UK, and then I packaged them by using a cello bag to protect the artwork and a backing to keep it from bending in transit and just anytime. And then added the label sticker, which I made in Procreate, and then cut it out with my Cricut on sticker paper. And yeah, that is the final product. I will have this linked down in my description if you guys want to purchase it, either from my shop website or my Etsy shop. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. So I'm currently working on some new things to add to the shop, which I'm so excited for. There will definitely be some sticker sheets in there as well, because I know that you guys love those. But please be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any videos or updates from me, and also like, as it helps out the channel so much. And thank you guys again for watching, and I shall see you in my next video.